I'm going to show you how to create a unit circle from memory, and then the same idea. You don't have to draw a unit circle every time, but the same idea you're going to use to figure out what's like the sine of 390 degrees, 90 degrees, or like negative 45 degrees, or like maybe even like the tangent of, I don't know, like 240 degrees. So stuff like that. That's what I'm going to teach you how to do in this. Okay. So watch this. Let's see. I got to make sure I can see the whole thing here. All right. So this is like the first quadrant, right? That's X. That's Y. And you know, like in the first quadrant, we got like, that is horrible. But first quadrant, kind of like that. Oh man, still terrible. But you got the idea, right? Okay, so there's a couple things you have to just remember. There's no shortcut. You have to remember that you're dealing always with 30, 45, and 60. In fact, in any quadrant, those are you're using multiples of those. So like, this is 90 and this is 0 degrees, right? Well, when you go over to the other quadrant, it's the same thing. Like you're going to go 30 more, and then 45 more than this, and then 60 more than this. So this is going to be like 120, and then 15 more than that is 135, 150, and 180. Okay, so you got to remember the angles no matter what. You got to remember these three, and everything else is just multiples of those. But it's the coordinates that are tricky. So we know this one is 1, 0. No problem, right? So check this out. We start with 0. So 0, watch, check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And then again, 0, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put 0 here and 4 there, right? All right. And so then what you're going to do is you do 0 through 4, and then what you do is you take the square root of each one divided by 2. Square root of each one divided by 2. So like square root divided by 2 for each value. Square root divided by 2. And what you're going to end up with is, after you simplify all of those numbers, what you end up with are all the coordinates. So like this one's already good, right? So the sine of 45 degrees is square root of 2 over 2, and cosine is the square root of 2 over 2. So that one's easy. Well, like let's take a look at this. The square root of 1 is just 1. So this right here is just 1/2, right? And then the square root of 3, well, that's just the square root of 3. You can't simplify it over 2. So cosine of 60 is 1/2. Sine of 60 degrees is square root of 3 over 2. And then same thing here, square root of 1 is just 1. So sine of 30 is 1/2. Cosine of 30 is root 3 over 2. This right here, of course, square root of 4 is 2. 2 over 2 is 1. Square root of 0 is 0. 0 over 2 is 0. So this is 0, 1. So the sine of 90 is 1, and the cosine of 90 is 0. So that's the first quadrant. Once you have the first quadrant down, the rest are really easy because they're just like copies of that. So like, for example, do you see how here, like if you were to draw a line across, that right there would be the square root of 3 over 2. And if you drew a line down, this would be 1/2. That's x, right? And that's y. So when you go across here, the y is the same. It's the square root of 3 over 2. The only difference is now x is negative in the second quadrant. So these two are the same, different sign. These two will be the same, different sign. So negative root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2, same thing. And then these two are the same, but x is negative in the second quadrant. You see how that works? How are we doing so far? Good, bad, what? You can either like just say something, or you can put it in the chat.
I'm good.
You good?
Yeah.
All right. So then you would continue this same thing for the third quadrant down here, right? So the third quadrant down here, the only thing different in the third quadrant from the second is that now both signs are negative. So like this one right here, when I come all the way down here, this first one is going to be 30 more than 80. That's 210 degrees. and it's going to be negative root 3 over 2, comma, negative 1/2. And then negative root 2 over 2, right? And negative root 2 over 2 for both of them. And then this one, I'm running out of room, negative root 3 over 2, negative 1/2. So that's 210, 215, and 230 degrees, right? And then same thing over here, except now x is positive and y is negative. So you can use that to do whatever. All right. You will have to do these from memory in class and a quiz later, but most of the time it takes you too long to do all that. So let's see if we can use that idea to figure out how to find the tangent of say 240 degrees without using a calculator. Okay. All right. A couple other things you guys have to remember is the approximations of these two numbers. You have to remember that those two are the approximation. These are the decimal approximations of that number. Okay, so 240. So the first thing you got to figure out is in which quadrant is 240 degrees. Well, I remember like it's going to be between 180 and 270, right? So, and it's actually 30 past or 30 away from that. So 240 degrees, like you can think about it like this. If this is 180, then you get 210, 225, 240. So it's going to be that one right there. Do you see? It's going to be that one right there. And it's 60. It's 60 past this. So like this right here would be your 60-degree angle. And so that's called the reference angle. And so you can use tangent of 60 to figure out the tangent of 240. You see? The only thing you got to be careful of is the signs. Since x and y are both negative over here, then the answer is going to be positive. But at 240, so check this out. This one right here is going to be negative root 3 over 2, negative 1/2, and then negative square root of 2 over 2, negative square root of 2 over 2. And then this one is negative 1/2 and negative root 3 over 2. Yeah? So that's cosine and that's sine. That's cosine and that's sine. So one of the things about tangent you also have to understand is the tangent of an angle is equal to the sine of the angle divided by the cosine of the angle, or on the unit circle, y over x. So it's going to be y over x. So negative root 3 over 2 divided by negative 1/2. Do believe that's just equal to the negative or to the square root of 3 because you multiply by the reciprocal, right? So, right, and let's just reduce, and a negative times a negative is positive. Shall we find out? Use a calculator to check it. So square root of 3, second square root of 3, 1.7, and then the tangent of, what was our angle? 240? 240. Wow. Fancy that. Hey, let's see. Are you guys good with, do you guys understand how I found those two numbers? Because you don't have to look at the whole unit circle. All you got to do is realize that it goes, this is like a repeat of quadrant 1. Quadrant 1 goes from 0 to 30 to 45 to 60 to 90, right? And so this is 1, 0. This is root 3 over 2, 1/2. If you just remember this pattern, and then 1/2 root 3 over 2. If you just remember this pattern right here, it gets repeated in all of the different quadrants. So it starts off with root 3 over 2, then it goes 2 over 2, and then 1 over 2. You see? And so that's the third one. So those are the coordinates right there. And if you just remember the quadrant, how the signs work, you're good to go. How are you guys doing with that? Good, bad, what?
So, how do you use the cosine and sine? Like, how does that work?
What do you mean? How do I use them like to figure out tangent?
Yeah, like for
Oh,
instance,
okay.
where it said the negative one half and negative.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a good question. So check this out. This is actually something that's really weird. Like if you're being asked to figure out the tangent of 240 degrees, well, that's a weird thing, right? Because isn't tangent equal to opposite over adjacent? And that's in a triangle, right? Well, that's bigger than a triangle, so it doesn't even fit. So the thing we found out, I'll answer your question and a couple other things here too, okay? So the thing we found out is that in this third quadrant over here, if you rotate another 60 degrees right here, then what you actually have is you have a 240-degree angle from here. So if you go from here all the way around, you get 240 degrees. Are you good with that part so far? Because this is 180, and 180 plus 60 is 240. We always
yeah.
start here and go that direction. Okay, so let's take a look at that triangle right there. Okay, so let's say, oh, that's totally not to scale. Let's say that's our 60, and let's say that's our 30. So like this is in the middle of a circle right here, right? So let's say we just drew a right triangle right there. So this is 60 and that's 30. Yeah? So 60 and then 30. Good? And this is 1. It's the hypotenuse is always 1. So if we want to find the tangent of 240 degrees, we're going to find the tangent of this, which is opposite divided by adjacent. Yeah? So the opposite over here, if that's 1, then this is going to be 1/2, and this is going to be the square root of 3 over 2, but they're both negative because it's to the left and down is in the third quadrant. And so here's the thing, opposite over adjacent, that's the opposite side. This is the adjacent side. And so when you simplify that, you just get the square root of 3. So the reason that this works for sine versus cosine is this. Check this out. If you're talking about this angle right here, the sine of 40 degrees, well, that's, sorry, 240 degrees, that's this right here. And the cosine of 240 degrees, that's the x-coordinate. And so if you know the sine and the cosine, you can just figure out tangent that way. So like, for example, the reason that's really useful is on your unit circle, you don't see tangent. You see cosine and you see sine. So if you just take y over x from any of them, you end up with the tangent of that angle. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a roundabout way. I just wanted to throw some other things in there that I thought might be important. But does that answer your question?
Yeah, so cosine is x and sine is y.
Cosine is x and sine is y. And that's also confusing because we always talk about sine first, and then we end up talking about cosine first on the unit circle. But yeah, okay. You're right. So cosine of an angle on the unit circle is the x-coordinate. Right. And sine on the unit circle is the y-coordinate. And tangent of the angle is y over x, or sine over cosine.
So so that just relates to the unit circle, right?
So well, that's how it works always and forever anyway. So like if you had, so let's see, let's figure out, let's pick an angle for me. It can be any number you want.
40.
It doesn't even have to. In fact, it'd be even better if it wasn't on the unit circle.
Oh.
Yeah. So just pick a number.
75.
75 degrees. So let's say 75 degrees, right? So that means like this would be our triangle, right? So if that's 75, this is 15. And that's 75 because that makes 90, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know how big that triangle is, but so the sine of 75 degrees, I don't know. I need a calculator to figure that out. cosine of 75 degrees. So I've got my calculator right here. Sine, you guys can see that, of 75 degrees, 0.9659. All right. And then check this out. Cosine of 75 degrees, 2.588. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, now let's do tangent of 75 degrees. 3.732. Okay. I'm going to divide this number by that number. Ready? Now this is rounded and this is rounded, so it's not going to be the same to the correct decimal. It's not going to be exactly to the same exact decimals, but well, actually I could do it right here. I'm going to type in the whole thing. Ready? 0.9659258,263. That's that. Okay. Because that's cosine. That's sine divided by cosine, right? Sine divided by cosine. So sine is that divided by cosine, which is 0.2588190,451. Oh, what did I do? Oh, look what I did. Hate my life. We'll try one more time. 9659. I'm just going to do that one. All right. Divided by 0.2588. Look. It worked.
Oh.
So yeah, any angle. The reason why the unit circle is so important is a few reasons. Number one, it shows you how this works. Number two, it shows you how you can figure out the tangent of something that's, more than 90 degrees. And you can also figure out a negative angle. So let's say we wanted to figure out negative 30 degrees. Well, you start here, and if you go 30 degrees the wrong way, then you end up at 330 degrees. So if you know everything about 330 degrees, then you know everything about negative 30. So the unit circle is used, it defines all of those trig values. So like everything you know about sine, cosine, tangent, everything you know about why sometimes it's negative, sometimes it's not. All of that, like why sometimes, like here, like tangent of 90 is the domain error. Do you see? Tangent of 90 is a domain error there, whereas tangent of 180 is going to be 0, right? And yeah, it's kind of crazy. So like, watch, tangent of 88. What do you think it's going to be? Big number or little number?
Probably smaller number.
Smaller number? Watch, check it out. It's weird. Big number, 28. Watch this though. Tangent of 89, 57. Tangent 89.2. Tangent of 89.5. Look, it's going up really fast. Do you see what I mean? It's kind of crazy. And one of the things you're going to see, and this is one of the things we're going to be doing soon, is we're going to graph. We're going to do a graph of like your function is going to be like your y is going to be tangent of an input of x, and your x will be the angle. So like here's 0 and here's 1. Here's 90 and negative 90, and it looks really weird. They have these things that you don't even know about yet. They're called asymptotes, which sounds like a bad word, and the graph look kind of like that. It's crazy looking, kind of cool. Yeah, but I don't know. We don't really have to worry about that yet. But I'm going to show you on Desmos anyway. Can you guys see? Wait, hold on. There we go. Can you guys see Desmos?
No.
No, that's weird. I wonder why. I guess it just captured the camera output. All right, well, never mind. Oh, well, wait, here, I can do it right here. You guys see Desmos now?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right, so check this out. What the sign looks like. We're going to graph those pretty soon. Here's what cosine looks like. And here's tangent.
Oh,
Yeah, tangent's funky. Yeah. So we're gonna be doing all that stuff. All right. So I just wanted to give you guys. There we go. You see me now?
yep.
You guys are lucky because man, full bloom. So you guys see the shortcuts of how to do the unit circle, how you can figure out. You're gonna have to practice those, but that's how you can figure out like the sign of any multiple of 30 or 45 or 90. Any like integer multiple of those, you can figure out the exact sine, cosine, tangent values without a calculator, and you're going to be expected to do that kind of stuff quite a bit. So it's going to take practice because those are all new facts and everything, and you won't be able to memorize it. All right, so there's only 3 of you in here right now. Just 3 of you. Hold on. So I'm gonna give you a treat. Oh yeah, who left? Or did nobody? No, yeah, Alfredo left. Silly Alfredo. All right, check this out. Uh, my daughter for my birthday, which was last week, gave me a bunch of weird beef jerky. Well, not beef, weird jerky. This one, wild boar, barbecue flavored. I'm gonna let you pick. I'm gonna try one. I've tried a couple. Some are like good, some are like really bad. Maple duck, uh, kangaroo. I've had,
Kangaroo.
yeah, I've had kangaroo before. Kangaroo is no good. Alligator. Let's see here. Venison, so deer. Pheasant. I've never had pheasant at all. More wild boar. Buffalo. Elk. Elk's good. And more deer. And ostrich.
You should have that.
Ostrich and another buffalo one. What do you guys think?
Ostrich.
Ostrich says Eddie. What does Davy Boy say?
I think Atticus said ostrich as well.
Atticus, you said ostrich too? Okay. All right. All right. So let me read it. Oh, it's not even ostrich isn't even the first ingredient. Beef is. I mean, what a ripoff. So because it does say beef and ostrich. Okay, so in their defense, the first word is beef. You got a picture of a big old bird on it, but all right. Like I tried one earlier. It was kangaroo and beef. It was bad. All right. So anyway, ingredients: beef, ostrich, salt, brown sugar, spices, paprika, molasses, and celery powder. They use celery powder instead of nitrate or nitrite because it has it in it naturally. So a lot of the times, people that are like really worried about preserved foods, they'll avoid anything that has like nitrates or nitrites, and so they'll get something that has celery salt instead. It's just as bad. But yeah. All right, here we go. I'm kind of nervous. It smells good, like right away. It looks weird, huh? That's all. It smells smoky. Oh, it's because it is. It's hickory smoked. No wonder it smells smoky. It must be really smoked too, because it doesn't have any artificial smoke on here. Oh, you can find all this stuff on. They have a website. It's buffalobobsnacks.com. Buffalo Bob's Snacks. So there's like 2 S's. So BOBSSNACKS. Bob. Yeah, Buffalo Bob's Snacks. All right. Smells good. Actually, my mouth's watering. That's pretty.
Oh no.
I don't know. It's weird. It's really good. Yeah, I know. Just because it's weird. I'm having trouble like I'm trying to think of how to describe it because it doesn't taste like regular jerky. It does taste sweet and smoky because there's like brown sugar and molasses and smoke. But like I don't know, it doesn't taste like beef. I guess it tastes like ostrich. I don't know. I'll eat this one. This one's pretty good. Like the one I had earlier. I've had kangaroo before. Kangaroo tastes disgusting to me. Like Oh, I hate it. But this one's pretty good. Yeah. Man, we should do like a tasting weird food channel. I love
You
weird.
should.
I love weird food. I'm all about the weird food. I'm all about new experiences. So, yeah, strange food's right up my alley. Well, you guys doing okay? Bored? Overworked? Which one? Right. Bird meat.
Burning.
Right. I catch like some poor hummingbird. In fact, I could do this. I have a hummingbird nest in my backyard and there's eggs in it. We could have like a hummingbird omelet.
Oh no.
No, I wouldn't do that. But it's kind of funny to say. Davy Boy's like, yeah, do that. No, I don't think we'll do that. I think I'd be in like major trouble with everybody that knows that there's a hummingbird nest. All right. Well, I'll keep dropping. So I'm trying to clean up my desk over here. I'm dropping stuff everywhere. So you guys are doing okay then with the unit circle?
Yeah. Now I am.
Yeah, that helps, like, because it just gives you some tricks so you don't have to like memorize everything. And then there's like, so it sucks. It sucks that we have to learn this now because this is like a really tricky topic and it's a big one. It's not one that's going to go away. And it can cause a lot of trouble. So that's why I've been trying to not go fast with it. So you guys should try the quiz. In fact, let me tell you about the quiz. I'll give you a clue on the quiz too. Hold on. Let me find your page. All right. Here, let me show you. Let me get the presentation going again. Okay, so check this out. Here's your. Are you guys seeing the? Are you guys seeing the unit circle quiz right now? With the worry wheel going around? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So this is what I see because like I made it right. So what I did is not for every single problem like the one where you have to fill out the blank unit circle. I didn't do that. Didn't do this one, but for like all the others, what I tried to do is when I went back and I made the answer key, I tried to give you, sometimes there's like a video to watch, but sometimes there's just like an explanation. So I tried to give you feedback. Like see, it says cosine's the x-coordinate, and the x-coordinate's negative, and x-coordinates are negative in quadrants 2 and 3. So after you take the test, you'll get your score right away, and then it'll give you feedback on how you did. And the reason I wanted to do that is because like the biggest thing that's missing in this kind of a setting for teaching and learning is the feedback. So like no matter how clear the information is and no matter how smart you are, you're going to have confusion and misconceptions. And without like somebody in person like there to test you by asking you questions and seeing all that kind of stuff, a lot of times you just feel like you got it and you really don't. And then you don't really discover that you're having trouble until way later. And so one of the things I want to do is I want to give you some more immediate feedback with stuff like that. It's not very good compared to like if we were able to sit down and talk to each other in person, but it's the best I can come up with so far. And I'm still racking my brain trying to come up with ways to make it better, but that's what we got to this point. All right. 11 messages. I think I saw them all. So Davey Boy wants to know, do you have to remember the decimals too? There are 2 decimals you have to remember. You have to remember that the square root of 2 divided by 2 is 0.707. So here, let me show you. Square root of 2 divided by 2 is 707. You see? Square root of 2 divided by 2 is 707. The other one you got to remember is that the square root of 3 divided by 2 is 0.866. Approximately. So sometimes you'll see those numbers and sometimes you'll be asked for them. one of the things that they'll ask you is they'll say, hey, an angle. Oh, they'll say something like this. They'll say, hey, the sine of an angle is 0.866. And the angle's between 0 and 360 degrees. What is the angle? So you have to recognize that 0.866 is the square root of 3 over 2, right? And so the sine being the square root of 3 over 2, well, that's going to be 60 degrees, but it's also going to be 120. There's two answers. Calculator will only give you one. So those things get tricky. Those are the kinds of things that I'm really worried about missing with this topic, teaching it like this. But I mean, it's all we have for right now, and who knows what's going to happen next semester. I don't even want to think about it. Yeah, I don't even want to think about that because it's funny. It's funny, like when I'm okay. So if I'm on spring break, like I really like teaching. I really like. In fact, I like teaching Cambridge classes. I like you guys, so I really enjoy it. You guys make my day. Like when I go to class, I can be having a bad day or whatever. And once the Cambridge classes start, any of them, freshmen or sophomores, any of them, like it just makes me happy. You guys make me tick. Like I like going to work to teach you guys. Like just like teaching you, like challenging you. Like I like to just talk to you guys. You guys are always funny and interesting and all that, right? So as much as I like it, well, if I'm on spring break, no, Davy boy. If I'm on spring break, I don't think about work. Like I don't. Summer vacation, Christmas vacation, whatever. I don't think about work when I'm not here, when I'm not at school. I don't, because I have a lot of hobbies and I stay really busy even when I'm not working. Really busy. So I'm surprised how much I miss going to school and seeing you guys face to face. Yeah. So it kind of sucks, but it's what we got right now. So if the worst that any of us has to suffer is that we get a little bored and a little frustrated, maybe a little overworked with some stuff that, some teachers assign too much. Sometimes maybe administrators will assign too much to teachers. If that's the worst we have to suffer, then that's a pretty good deal. But yeah. All right. So anything else from any of you guys?
Is this going to be posted in Google Classroom?
Yeah, I'm recording it. I think. I hope. I hope. Yeah. Let's see. Yes, it's recording. So when it's recorded, I'll go ahead and load it in Google Classroom for you guys, so you can refer to it again. Because sometimes seeing that trick, that 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like starting bottom right and going 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that's the Y, and then you do the X's, so it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 the other way, and then square root of 2 for each term, and you just simplify it, and that's all the coordinates for the basic angles that we use. So that's kind of like a trick, like learning how to multiply by fives, like skip counting and stuff. It's just a trick to help you remember. Yeah. All right. So anything else? All right. Yeah, I wish I had something weird to eat or something. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're about ready to move on then. I know that it seems kind of weird. Like I didn't give you guys a whole bunch of work last week, but I think we're ready to move on to what's next. And I can give you a heads up. I can share with you what is next. Hold on, let me look. I think it's going to be using trigonometry to solve right triangles. And by solving right triangles, what that means is you find any value of a missing side or any value of a missing angle. And so, yeah, that is what's next, solving right triangles. So if you wanted to get a head start on that, I'll put the link, like all the stuff, all the videos and notes, and other than quizzes that I write right now, everything's already on that page right there. So I just put it in the chat room or in the chat window. So that's what we're going to do next. Solving right triangles, and it's using trig. Sometimes we'll use a calculator, sometimes not. Yeah. All right. Well, do you know what kind of jokes you can? There's only one kind of joke you can tell during quarantine. And maybe I told you, but I don't think so.
What is it?
Inside jokes.
Oh.
I know. I know. I'm sorry. Yeah. Not everybody gets that joke, but like the coronavirus, eventually everybody will get it. Ay, ay, ay.
Well, here's a racist one. Well, sort of racist.
All right.
Why can't Chinese people play baseball?
Why?
Because they ate the bat.
Okay, that's pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah. All right, you're right. It is kind of. Yeah. Well. Yeah. All right.
semi. Moving
Yeah.
on.
Moving on. Ooh, anyway, oh look over there, a squirrel. All right. So yeah, you guys can get started on that. I'll post all that assignment later. I'm going to try to write a Google quiz for that too, but those things take me forever because I don't really know how I'm not very good at it yet, and so I might not be able to do that. But the thing I do like about the Google quiz is not the format; it's just the feedback. You get your score right away, and then it gives you information that you might have gotten confused by that could cause you to make a mistake. So those are that's the upshot of it. But we'll keep working at it. I know you guys are. I know everybody's just trying to get by. So yeah. All right. Well, I guess I'll talk to you guys later. Hope you have a good afternoon.
See you later.